afternoon. You're almost welcome to the 15th webinar of our Banking and Financial Services Awareness Month webinar series. Once again, you're most welcome and good afternoon. We are saying your money can be money smart. Sente yo sobola. It's all about learning how to use money, how to save money, how to invest money, and the bottom line is financial literacy, financial inclusion for everyone. We are active on our social media sites. You can find us on Twitter, and our hashtag is YourMoneyCan. We also have a web portal for the campaign, which is at www.yourmoneycan.or.ug. My name is Ronald Mugwanya, and I'm moderating the call. The campaign is brought to you by the Uganda Institute of Banking and Financial Services in collaboration with our strategic partners, Bank of Uganda, the Uganda Bankers Association, Uganda Insurance Association, Financial Sector Deepening Uganda, FSDU, and Summit Consulting. We also joined by Platinum Partners, which is Bank of Africa, Uganda, as well as multiple partners from across the banking and financial services sector. And to mention, we have ABSA, Stanbic, Equity, Opportunity Bank, KCB, DTB, Centenary Bank, EcoBank, Pride Microfinance, Yugford Microfinance, EFC, Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Finca Uganda, Housing Finance Bank. These are our partners. We thank you so much, our partners, because without you, we wouldn't have been able to make it this far. It's because of you and your support that we are able to get the audience these wonderful and very educative topics. The topic today is careers, customer experience engineering in banking and finance. And we are saying that experience engineering is basically focused on reducing customer effort. We want to enhance the experience of the customer, therefore we've got to reduce their effort or the amount of energy they put into accessing our services. The effort can be both real or it's perceived effort, guiding customers through potentially difficult interactions to ensure their needs are met. That's what customer experience is all about. But the expert, our guest panelist today, will expound more on that. Briefly, the word customer experience engineering or customer engineering first came to surface in the 70s and the 80s, and it was brought to the surface by, or coined by, a business guru, the general manager of IBM, International Business Machines. Those of you who are so familiar with computers know IBM. The name was Thomas J. Watson, a very passionate salesperson who set out to build a highly experienced and passionate sales force at IBM during his tenure as general manager. Customer engineers were trained, or they were well-trained engineers, usually stationed either in the field or at customer premises. Their main job role was to troubleshoot any technical problems that IBM supplied equipment could get, because that was the days or the early days of computing. Few people knew about computers. So Thomas Watson saw it fit to actually find a means of reducing the effort of their clients into using their machines. He came up with the customer engineers. Since then, the term has been spread across or from IBM, and it has now come to be a common term across many industries. It is now, we are saying that the banking and financial services sector is no exception to, jumping on the bandwagon of common phrases from, across different industries. In our fifth webinar today, we are joined by none other than Dr. Dorothy Cheyune, PhD, to discuss customer experience engineering in the banking and financial services sector. Now, briefly about Dr. Cheyune, Dr. Dorothy Cheyune. Dorothy is the CEO of Moyo Enterprise Limited, a leading customer service consultancy firm that believes in putting the body, mind, heart, and soul into customer service. She's a customer experience enthusiast whose passion led her to pursue doctoral studies in business administration with original contribution in the field of customer loyalty. She's a certified bulletproof manager with Crestom and an author in Social Science Research Network, Elsevier, which is a top international journal. She's a mentor of Girls to Girls Project in Uganda. Dorothy is a Rotarian, PHF from the Rotary Club of Kampala, Maisha, and a graduate of the Rotary Leadership Institute. She's also a member of the Customer Experience Professionals Association, and she's won numerous awards and recognitions in her field over the years. Dorothy has 15 years end-to-end work experience in customer service. She's worked in Airtel Uganda and also Airtel Group office based in Nairobi. Her last gig was with Delight Solar Uganda as head of customer experience. Dorothy is married with 4 children and still counting. I love that. And lastly, Dorothy loves reading, she loves farming, she loves dancing and swimming. I think the profile just says it all. We couldn't choose a much better person. I think Dorothy is top notch. She's got the hands-on experience. She's also got the theory to back it up. I want to invite you, Dorothy, to take the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Dr. Dorothy Cheyune to take us through what it means to be a customer engineer, and as well as a customer engineer in the banking and financial services sector. You're most welcome, Dr. Dorothy.
Thank you so much, Ronald, for that quite elaborate and generous introduction. I truly appreciate the opportunity, to share with you today about a topic that I'm very passionate about. And I'll start by thanking everyone that is either viewing live on Facebook or with us for being here, and taking their time. People have got a lot of things to do, but it means a lot when somebody spends their time and decides to say, let's listen into what is happening. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't take that for granted, and I truly appreciate your time. So, customer experience engineering. I'll just start with a brief background, and later on I'll share some presentation on customer experience. So to give it a flair, ladies and gentlemen, customer experience is not any other jargon or hype that you hear sweeping around the business divide that will be forgotten in a few years. Customer experience is the new religion for successful industries. Now, what is happening? There is a sweeping customer behavior across the globe that is really fast, very unprecedented, if not disruptive. And this has been caused by rapid technological advances. It has been caused by social media connectivity, and these trends have led to the changing customer today who is empowered, a customer who is demanding personalized service. Ladies and gentlemen, today's customers want to get answers really fast. Today's customers are cross-device shoppers. This customer is on social media, probably checking up an app for a bank, using their laptop. The same customer is using their tab to probably purchase something else. The same customer is using their phone to navigate a USSD menu of a certain bank, okay? So these customers are perpetually on social media and will not hesitate to talk about their experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, the same customer will drop you like a hot potato for another company should you fail to meet their needs. Now, when we start talking about, oh, sorry, I'm told there is no volume.
Dorothy, it's
Can
okay.
you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you are loud and clear.
Okay.
I will respond to the participant who just raised the query.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes.
Thanks, Ronald, for having my back. Truly appreciate that customer experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, customer experience spans across marketing, across sales, across service interactions with the customer. It's about creating long-term customer relationships that reap steady profits. And when I talk about customer experience, I'm not talking about a one-time purchase. So as we now get into, the financial and banking sector, it is very important for any company to have good customer experience. But it is even more crucial in the banking and financial services industries, ladies and gentlemen. Today, customers have access to an array, 100 of opportunities in deciding who will care for their money. And yes, financial institutions are competing by offering, say, lower fees, higher returns, new digital services, But as these banking services become more and more commoditized, how do financial institutions then differentiate to keep the existing customers while also attracting new ones? Ladies and gentlemen, in a recent survey by Qualtrics, this is an international company that does survey a number of reputable surveys. So it did a survey recently on more than 550 banking customers, to find out their pulse. And guess what? The top reasons for customers leaving the banks or financial institutions were, the first one was poor service, financial advice. So what does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? This definitely means that customer experience is a pertinent thing we need to look at in financial institutions. The other insight that came from this research was that 56% of the customers that left said probably they could have changed their minds should the financial institutions have tried to salvage the relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, with that background, it's very, very clear that there is an experience gap in the financial sector, that financial experts have to feel if they want to remain relevant in this environment that we are living in. That is very ambiguous, an environment that is characterized by a lot of change. And with that background, I would like to share my screen, if you can allow me. so we can, delve into this lovely topic of experience engineering.
Yeah, it's okay, Dorothy. We can go ahead and share the screen. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a second. Okay, Ronald, you'll tell me if you can see my screen.
It's clear.
Okay. Thank
Yes.
you. Brilliant. I'm loving the customer experience you're giving me. It's the little things that matter. So keep it
That's
up.
what we do at UIBFS.
Well done. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we shall look at what is this experience engineering that we are talking about, okay? We will look at the laws of customer experience. While I was sharing with a colleague, they were like, oh my God, customer experience has got laws. I'm like, yeah. So the other is we shall go into the theorization. Why customer experience and how does it translate into money? Because at the end of the day, whatever you do has to translate into your return on investment. And what better theory than the social exchange theory in explaining the customer behavior? So, ladies and gentlemen, we shall also look at the top customer experience trends across the world for 2020 so that we acclimatize ourselves with these things, okay? And know where the world is, And lastly, I will be able to share some parting thoughts. So, when we talk about customer experience, I will start explaining customer experience by telling you what it is not. Well, oftentimes when we talk about customer experience, the quick thing that happens is somebody says, yeah, I know it is customer service. Ladies and gentlemen, customer experience is not customer service, just to be very clear. Customer experience probably is a distant cousin, if I can use that, of customer service. So I'll start with explaining what is customer service. Ladies and gentlemen, customer service is one of the pieces of the puzzles, and customer service is focused on human interactions and directly supporting customers. Okay, that is customer service. Now, moving on to customer experience is the sum total, the sum impression of the brand based on cumulative interactions with the company, with this bank, with this financial institution. It is the customer's cognitive, that is thinking, emotional, sensory, touch, feel, social, association, and spiritual response to all interactions with this financial institution. So then, what is experience engineering after knowing what customer experience is? Ladies and gentlemen, experience engineering is the systematic designing and orchestrating of signals generated through products and services and the environment that results into a customer registering that particular perception in their mind. So as a bank, experience engineering is your deliberate setting, targeting of the brand that you want to be seen as out there. And then you not only set it, but you act, live like that brand. The adage goes, perception is reality. So when you start behaving in a constant manner, of course, with the mindset that we want our customers to view ABSA as this, or we want our customers to view Stanbic as that, or StanChart, then you start orchestrating that behavior across the 360 divide, then it will register in your customer's mind, okay? What sometimes is called the persona. When I think of maybe Equity Bank, what comes to my mind? What persona can I give it? Okay? Thank you. So I think with that background, we are now starting to understand this experience thing. Ladies and gentlemen, experience is subjective. So you can't say that I will manage Derek's experience. It is Derek's experience. It is Ronald's experience. So Ronald can say something, probably he's like, wow, this webinar has been the best webinar, okay? And then Derek is like, what? No, this is the worst webinar, you know, because each one has their own experience. So how do you orchestrate to make sure that both of them see the experience from your, call it your eyes or your focus, what you want them to see? So experience is about the feel, it's about the mood. What feelings and emotions do you bring into a customer's mind when they interact with you on social media, when they go to the banking hall, when they are using your USSD platform, okay? That is the feeling. Then how do you act? This can be bodily expressions of a teller. It can be the bodily expression, or how the askari nowadays probably checks when somebody is coming in, thermometer check and all that. It can be all those things that the bank does physically. And as you do them, they are registered in the customer's mind. Ladies and gentlemen, experience is about how the banks relate. What is that brand communication you're passing on? As a bank, as a financial institution, what is that social identity you're trying to put up? Is it in CSR? Is it with your values? If you have these values, are they coherent? Do you pass them on in a consistent manner? How do you relate with your customers? Okay, because all this is being registered. Like I said earlier, experience is also cognitive. It's how the customers think. When a customer is relating with your financial institution, do you go over and above to make them surprised? And they're like, wow, Derek has given me a great experience. Or you overpromise and underdeliver as a bank. You know, you go into social media, you go on to, you know, do this wonderful press release, go on to television, but at the end of the day, you forget to probably align your front-facing staff, and the customer comes and is asking about something, and the staff has to say, wait a minute, let me find out, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, experience is about the sense. It's about the sight. What does your showroom, what does your agency banking kiosk or something look like? How does your bank smell? How do the people in the bank smell? You know, I'll give an experience. When you were joining this webinar, you listened to an instrumental song, okay? That already is an experience that is being orchestrated to put you in a certain mood. Try to imagine if you were logging on to this webinar and it was quiet. You get in and everything is quiet, you know, and then probably Ronald says, you're very welcome. What is the difference, okay? About experience, I've seen banks using light and false ceilings to try and create a wonderful experience, because this is all that the customer is seeing. Is there some AC? Is there probably a dispenser that I can take some little water if I need to? And that whole summation is the experience. And for me to get that experience as a financial institution customer, I don't even need to come to your bank. Whenever I see you or I hear about you, I put an experience behind. And like I said, perception is reality. So ladies and gentlemen, it's needless to say that experience is not just a buzzword that we use. It is an investment that you put into your bank, that you put into your financial institution, and it will reap dividends for you. So that said, I hope we are still together. Ronald and Derek, I'll disturb you from time to time because I want to make sure we are at par. Ronald, I would like to listen to your voice.
Yeah,
Are we at par?
Dorothy, we are at par. We're actually following.
Great.
Yes.
So,
do you want me to be coming in, once in a while?
I will ask you as and when.
Okay, please. All right. Okay, thanks. So in the meantime, let me just be in the back end.
Thank you, Ronald.
Yeah.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there are laws that govern customer experience. And just like we have the 10 commandments, these are the 6 commandments of customer experience. So law number 1 says that every action creates a personal reaction. What do I mean by this? It means experience is in the eyes of the beholder. Just to delve deeper into this, what Ronald considers as good right now at this current time, 31 minutes past 15, okay, may be something that he will say is bad within about 2 hours. And he's a customer, he has a right, it's his experience. So don't go like when a customer comes back, the customer said something was good, but probably the next day comes back to the banking hall or calls you and they're saying it's bad. Don't go like, but you said it was good. No customers and any person has that liberty to change their experience. Because like I said, experience is subjective, okay? And it is in the eyes of the beholder. Like I said earlier, you may get feedback as probably, Bank of Africa, and everybody is telling you, wow, this thing is good. And then you get another feedback when somebody is telling you it's bad. So don't say, but the majority of customers say it's good. No, experience is individual. And therefore, it should be designed for individuals. Customer segments should be prioritized, okay? Customer feedback is the key metric when you're dealing with experience. And at the same thing, employees need to be empowered to be able to represent your brand, your bank in the right way. There is nothing like the pit thieves. You go to a bank and then you're asking them about something and the person is like, but those people, let me talk to my manager. Those kind of things already take away from the person. So employees should be empowered enough, but then it is only the voice of the customer that can represent the customer. You can't say that because I work with, I'm a front-facing person, I know what the customers want. What the customers want is their voice of the customer. Yes, as front-facing people, you can add on, but every experience is in the eyes of the beholder. The second law around customer experience is that every person, people are instinctively self-centered. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone has their own frame of reference. When we are looking at the world, everyone looks at the world through their own lenses, okay? So customers care about their needs and they have their lenses. Employees also have their individual frames, but also we need to always be cognizant that employees know definitely more than customers, which is good and should be that way. But now when you're cautious about it, as banks, as financial institutions, you are then very intentional when communicating out to the customer so that you don't communicate like you're communicating to an employee, okay? Using certain jargons, you know, I saw the other day, I saw communication on LinkedIn when somebody was talking about an app and there were some financial terms that I personally as well didn't relate with. And I'm like, okay. So it is very important that when you come up with the communication that you want to pass on to the customer, probably you get some customers to review it. And if they understand it, then others will understand it. Communication should be, for lack of a better word,
Hello,
the
Dorothy.
lowest pass of 3 talks about security. Yes, please.
No, it's okay. I was just checking up on you because we felt like we were losing you. Yeah,
No,
but it's
I'm
good.
here.
You're back
Okay,
online.
brilliant. Yeah. So customer familiarity breeds alignment. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to get closer to your customers, okay? Steve Jobs says, get as close to your customers that you even start understanding them and pre-prune and start even forecasting and providing for them things even before they realize they need them. Ladies and gentlemen, none of your employees goes out to make a customer have a bad day. Every person wants to serve the customer better. But why is it that sometimes things go haywire? It is because there needs to be a clear view of what customers want, need, dislike, and aligning all those decisions and actions across the organization. There should be focus on the customer's needs. And whenever you're dealing with strategy and you realize probably Y has this opinion, X has this opinion, when you have those internal politics happening, all you need to do is pause, reflect, and ask yourselves, what does the customer want? And the only way to know what the customer wants is to go to the voice of the customer, not to try and think for the customer. Okay? So they say that external focus by looking at the customer is an antidote to internal politics. And that is what is meant by customer familiarity breeds alignment. Law number 4 talks about unengaged employees not creating engaged customers. Ladies and gentlemen, as you seek to become the financial institutions that are creme de la creme, you need to know that it starts from the drawing board. Charity begins at home with your employees. It is only a happy employee who creates a happy customer. Now, as financial institutions, you should always look out for ensuring that you don't underspend on training. We are going through unprecedented times where employees are wondering what is going on. Is my job safe? Am I okay? You know, so in this instance, there is need for training. There is need for cohesiveness. I should be able, as an employee, to feel
Hello, Dorothy. Okay, I think we seem to be losing Dorothy in the meantime, but okay. Dorothy will be joining us soon while she
Right,
puts on
yeah.
network, right? Okay. Yeah.
Please confirm that you can get me.
Yeah, we can get you. We hear you loud and clear, Dorothy. Yeah,
Okay.
you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, always you should focus on your employees, because I've interacted with certain firms where you realize the bank has got great systems, but there is friction among the employee. Somebody doesn't want to take something to be signed because they feel the boss thinks they arrived. Okay, so remain under the desks. All things are taken to the boss for signing, and they don't sign them because for them they are busy. Experience is about that cohesion, that understanding that all of us as employees, starting from the staff who cleans the banking hall, as equally important in orchestrating this experience. Law number 5 talks about how you are able to get results. And it says that employees only do what is measured, incented, and celebrated. Ladies and gentlemen, what do I mean by this? It means that you should, as banks, as financial institutions, you should hone your measurements, you should hone your on the goals that you want to see, okay? Clearly defining what good behavior is and avoiding these mixed signals. Probably when it comes to employee recognition, another thing is recognized. Yet you said this was what was supposed to be recognized, okay? And it also talks about not blaming the employees, but fixing the environment. And how do you fix the environment, ladies and gentlemen? You fix the environment by making sure you hone all your measurement on the goals that you want to see. Employees, remember, understand the language that is measured, incented, and celebrated. As an employee of a bank, I will only do my best when I know that when I touch this, I'll be measured like this. So in order to get to probably their key result areas, in order to get this probably come up as a budding young achiever in a bank, okay, or a high potential, I need to do this. And my KRAs are set clearly. And those KRAs translate into my boss's KRAs, and they in turn translate into their probably director's KRAs, and they in turn translate into the chief of staff, or then in turn translate into the MD's KRAs, okay? So that everybody is pushing for the same thing. Customer experience is not something for the customer experience department only. And in my trainings, as I train organizations, you realize when you talk about experience, they're like, yeah, the customer experience head. It is a thing that is for the entire organization, ladies and gentlemen. Law number 6 and the last law says you can't fake it, okay? Now, because we've had that customer experience has overtaken price and product as the #1 brand differentiator, you may get these nice sentiments when somebody talks about experience and they are like, we are pro experience. We are the experience bank. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't fake experience. And like we said, experience is in the eyes of the beholder. So what does this mean? It means that when a bank is talking about experience, or when a financial institution is talking about experience, that experience should also be a top priority with the company's leaders. Because then if it's not a top priority, employees can tell when you're faking it. And they'll be like, okay, let's move on. So I hope we are starting to get into the pulse of this experience engineering.
Definitely, Dorothy, we are actually getting the feel, because many of the things that you put out are the things that affect us, like in our day-to-day interaction with different organizations, not just banks and financial institutions, but generally across the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ronald.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as a scholar, we believe that there is a reason why things happen. So when we are trying to understand human relations, I believe that the social exchange theory is one of the theories that can explain to you why customers behave the way they behave. So what is this social exchange theory? The social exchange theory, ladies and gentlemen, was developed by a gentleman called Homans in 1958 and has been relevant across the divide to date. Other scholars like Emerson, Propanzo, Seth have come in to date and realized that when you want to understand customer behavior, you need to look through the lenses of human relationships. So what is this social exchange theory? Ladies and gentlemen, this social exchange theory believes that all human relationships are formed on the basis of a subjective cost-benefit analysis. Let me try to perspective. When a customer is deciding whether they should stay with Centenary Bank, they will weigh the pros against the cons. Okay, these guys do this. This is the customer effort I put in. And they try to, and they're always weighing. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that business, 98% of business comes from referrals. So as other customers are talking with each other about these banks or about these financial institutions, they are weighing, okay, they told me this bank does this, but I would move, but at least take care of me in this way. So as long as a customer perceives the cost of the relationship to outweigh the perceived benefits, they will leave. So the way this is calculated, you just look at the net return, which is equal to perceived benefits minus perceived costs. Any customer will always weigh, is my being with this financial institution worthwhile? What am I getting in return? Okay, as you also are weighing your returns on investment. Okay, that said, I would like to quickly delve into the top customer experience trends for 2020. Yes, where there are examples in the Uganda financial and banking sector, I'll refer to them. Where there are none, again, I'll talk about it so that we know where to aspire towards, okay? So the first customer experience trend across the globe is really understanding your customers, ladies and gentlemen. And when I talk about really understanding your customers, it goes beyond the normal KYC. It goes beyond knowing a customer's date or NIN. It means, how do you use machine technology to understand customers? How do you go beyond the normal to start now meeting the customer at their wavelength, so that you're in position to understand that this customer has defaulted on their loan because of ABC. So a company that does this very well across the world is Disney. And what Disney does is, when you go into their amusement parks, they give you a wristband. There is a picture of that wristband on the right-hand corner of this screen. So when they give you that wristband, they are able to follow you and know at what point were you amused, how long did you queue up, what in the amusement park, what exactly did you do? And then more importantly, using augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, they are able to understand your emotions when you go into their movie theaters, okay? And know which moments in the movie did you smile the most, which moments were low-key, and then using that, they are able to turn around your experience and understand you there and then. So I'm trying to get an example in Uganda's banking sector. What would it really mean to understand the customer? It would mean that everyone is aware the times we are going through are not usual times. It's business unusual. So even as bankers, there is a need to be a little bit flexible when dealing with the customer by understanding their individual patterns. What has the loan repayment for this customer been like? When this customer went to our website, what did they do there? Why is it that this customer went to our website and thereafter visited us at our probably banking hall? What is that thing that they needed, and how are we able to give it to them so that going forward they don't have to come to us, and so forth and so on. The second trend across the globe in customer experience is understanding the customer in a particular moment. When I say understanding the customer in a particular moment, what do I mean by this? It means, I'll use an example of Spotify. Spotify is a digital music service that gives access to customers to millions of songs. So what they do, they predict customers' preference and customize their playlist according to the particular moment. Probably they'll know that Derek goes to work in the morning, so they'll change the music. At lunch, during lunchtime, he travels here, they'll change the music. And in the evenings, he's at the gym, then they'll change the music you listen to. How does that relate to the bank? How are you able to know your customers? The only way, you have put in place what they call relationship managers. The role of a relationship manager is to befriend a customer to the extent that they know the customer's pulse, and they can ably tell you that probably this customer is a Rotarian who belongs to this club. At one day, I even went and listened to them. If they are not here, they will be at Kabira. If they are not at Kabira, that kind of thing. So that then, in understanding that, the customer lets loose and starts telling you why they are doing certain things the way they are doing them. When you understand the customer in the particular moment, you're able now to start relating with them and avoid a kind of plastic relation with the customer. The other trend across the globe is anticipating customers' needs. How do you anticipate customers' needs as a bank? Now, we are aware that COVID-19 is affecting very many people in various ways. This is the time to be extra empathetic as a bank with your customers. This is the time to know that if I am the customer, what will I need in January? Okay, so an example is a lifts and escalator service called Kony. So what Kony does is using machine data. They are able to analyze the footfall on their lifts and escalators, okay, to the extent that they are aware of when the escalator will, break down, and they make sure that they renovate it before it breaks down. So bringing it back to the banking sector, you should be able to know that this customer is showing these signs of leaving. And then you pre-prune before it even happens. Another company is the Royal Caribbean Cruise ship. What they do is using face recognition technology. When you go to them, before even say when you go to their restaurants, they are able to know your allergies. They are able to know what you would like to take, your preferences in terms of meals and things like that. How do you bring this back to the banking and financial sector? You should be able to use your data analytics, whether it's in Excel sheets or name it, by getting number crunchers who can make sense of that data, so that you can try to understand your customers as much as possible. Little things like sending a customer an anniversary SMS, other things. I'll use something that banks are doing right now. It is very easy to say, let's bombard these customers with SMS. And probably, I don't know whether you go to telco companies or whatever and tell them you broadcast everywhere. There are innumerable times when I've got SMSs from banks that I'm not even party to, telling me about products. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are these people even engaging me? Okay. It means being more particular when you're dealing with your customers, and so on and so forth. The fifth customer experience trend, ladies and gentlemen, is in actively adding value to your customers. Gone are the days when customers were satisfied with just a bank keeping their money. Nowadays, customers expect you to not only offer services, but move up the value chain. What do I mean by this? Customers would like a partnership, okay? I see things like we are up and running 24/7. That is a given. You're expected to be available, okay? Now, how do you move up the value chain, for example, as a bank in your mortgages, by adding value to the customers? As a bank, probably this is the time to start thinking on how you can help customers spend less, because their sources of income have also reduced. If you truly understand your customers, you should be able to sit with them and say, you know what, Ronald, I think in spend, this and this is happening. We realize the money is not coming in as it used to be in terms of frequency and this, but you could probably do this. You could probably do that, so that the customer feels like it's a partnership, not people who are willing to rip me off. Now, there is a company called Athena Life Insurance, and for them, what they do, they have partnered with Apple to get the Apple watches, okay? So those watches are given to their customers on a discount, and then the customers pay up from time to time. But what this watch does for this insurance company is to make sure that this customer remains active. Remember, for insurance, when the customer doesn't claim their insurance, that is how you get value. So what Athena does is it tells this customer, for example, every month you will be paying back $100. However, if you do so many kilometers in terms of jogging, remember that the watches, the iPhone watch is tracking you. If you do so many kilometers in jogging, or will monitor this, then for that month you won't pay the installment for recovering the Apple, watch. So in so doing, what the customer does is the customer keeps healthy. And when the customer keeps healthy, they don't remove their insurance because now they have to use it for something. Okay? So what do the customers need from banks? Customers want a bank that now starts looking at the trends and helps them on how to spend. That is what they call adding value. Helping your customers on where they can save more, what is trending, why should they save with this and not the other. That kind of, talk with the customer. Then the other trend that is happening across the globe with regard to COVID, where you know that you are not allowed probably to try on things, social distancing and all, is what they call augmenting the customer experience. So what does augmenting the customer experience mean? This means that companies have been able to use virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, and started offering new ways of doing business. For example, with Warby Parker specs, these are specs that you put on the eyes. What a customer needs to do for Warby Parker is they just download the app. You go, when you download the app and you want to get these specs, you click on the particular spec, then it will take a picture, it will recognize your face, then fit that particular specs on your eyes. Then if you want it, you purchase it. If you don't want it, you click on another spec. Again, it's fitted on your face virtually. You can see yourself and you go like, yeah, these specs will look nice on me. And if you like them, then you will purchase them. The same is happening with Rolex watches. For somebody to purchase a Rolex watch right now, they don't necessarily have to move and get the watch. What they do is, again, they download an app that gives them privy to an array of all the watches available. So that app takes a picture of your wrist. As a customer, you select the particular watch that you want. That app will fit the watch on your wrist. And in addition, you're able to see yourself and go like, no, this watch doesn't look so nice on me, and so on and so forth. So bringing it back home to the banking sector, you will say that probably, yeah, these are advanced countries and all. What can you do with what you have? So that customers don't necessarily have to walk into your halls, because the world we are living in is a digital era. How do you make sure that you drive traffic online? How do you simplify the communication online, or make sure that it's very easy for a customer to navigate your IVR, or a customer to use your online your online website and get sorted there and then? And if they don't get sorted, how do you know that this customer did not get sorted and they are the same customer walking into a place, and then you make sure you understand why they did not find your USSD. USSD is usually the *16 something hash, or, why don't they use that? Because in this era, it's very important that your customers start getting acclimatized with using online platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, previously we thought people will not adjust to social media and all these online channels. But we have all been proved wrong. People are moving with the trends. A person who is semi-illiterate, probably your border guy, you will find is sending you a Facebook invite. And you're like, oh my God, this guy is sending me a Facebook invite, and so on and so forth. How are you making yourselves simple? When you're designing your products, do you ever get feedback from the customer? You just do it as so make this experience tangible. And what do we mean by making this experience tangible? We live in a digital world, and many things can be done virtually. Okay, so how do you design probably the agency points? How do you design your digital platforms so that they provide that tangible experience? Does this very well is Holista retail stores, and for them a customer using virtual reality, artificial reality is able to put on a dress, fit on a dress, virtually see themselves without necessarily fitting in it. Now, when I translate this to the financial sector, what does it mean? It means that from understanding your customers, you should be able to make their experiences tangible. And the way I see this happening is through your online platforms, so that customers now start getting used to getting to meet you online and listening to feedback as and when it comes in, ladies and gentlemen. That said, yes, I wanted us to get a feel of what is happening in the world, you know, because it's nice to aspire, it's nice to do all these things. And like
Hello, Dr. Dorothy. Hello. Okay. While we're still waiting for Dorothy to return, seems she's having a network problem. She'll be coming in soon. Why don't we talk about customer experience in chat? Like, what's your experience with different institutions that you've visited? Okay. Yeah, I think while we wait for Dorothy to return, we could also share our own experiences regarding the institutions that we've transacted with. We've all been to financial institutions, we've all been to different banks, and we all hold bank accounts. What are your experiences? Please, in chat. It's good to see you, Doctor. Dorothy? Okay, let's just get engaging in chat and let's share what our experiences with financial institutions are, please. What do you have to say about customer experience? Because at least one way or the other, we've all been either annoyed or very impressed by the different people that we consume services from, or even many of us are also service providers. What's your experience? In chat, please, while we wait for Dorothy to return. This is something which happens with us on a daily. We interact with organizations. What's your experience?
Just a second, can you hear me?
Yes, Dorothy, we can hear you now.
Hello, Ronald.
Yeah.
Oh,
good
dear.
to see you
Sorry
again.
about that glitch. I am here alive and well. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, please, you can proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, Ronald, please confirm that you can see the screen.
Yes, the screen is clear, Dorothy, we can see it.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes.
So now we are going into tangible ways of how the banking and financial services industry can improve their customer experience. And the first one could be something like collecting customer experience data in real time across all channels and touch points. What do I mean by real time? Real time means that when probably Ronald gives you feedback right now, okay, all the feedback you are viewers are going to give us right now, that feedback is very genuine and fresh because you are expressing your sentiments before you try as they come, okay? So how do banking sectors look at in-branch feedback to gauge sentiments, okay, when they are still fresh and more genuine? If you ask a customer about their experience when they are still in the banking hall, okay, and then you ask the same customer about their same experience when you call them 1 week after they were in the banking hall, definitely the experience and the feedback they will give you will be different. So getting feedback in real time is getting the feedback in the moment of truth, okay? How do you support this feedback? For example, let me give an example. Right now, filling in, for example, an insurance claim or missing mortgage payment or name it, it's already an emotional experience. So how the person in the bank, okay, takes note of this and not only takes note of this, but makes sure that they are able to reassure this customer can make or break the relationship. The other is, how do you utilize your feedback that you get on the websites or mobile feedback when a customer calls you? What do you do with that feedback? Okay? Or how do you use the feedback that you receive from your relationship managers? Now, all these things have to be synced, okay, so that you're able to analyze this feedback real time and not only get this feedback, but utilize it. Oftentimes, you'll hear employees who are saying, yes, they ask us for feedback, but never use it, okay? Try and get your employees' trust by using feedback. The second thing, identifying the key business drivers and taking action to improve your customer experience and your customer loyalty. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very important to know that 1 bird in the hand is better than 10 in the air. What do I mean by this? The marketing and sales cost that is required by you to replace a lost customer are astronomical if you can compare them to implementing feedback experiences that will help alert you of a customer's likelihood to leave, so that then you can engage them before they can even leave. The other is monitoring the end-to-end customer experience journeys for every customer, and doing so with a 360-degree view of every customer. What do I mean by this? Let me try to give an example of a common banking customer experience journey and how it may look like, okay? So it may include a customer checking their account balance, their customer depositing a paycheck in a branch, or depositing, or verifying their deposited funds using their smartphone. You should make sure that at all these touch points, you are getting these customers' experiences, but also going a step further to have the different customer types identified, segmented, okay? Then finding out how each customer engages with your institution, and then which will help you proactively identify the risky customers so that you can proactively start then engaging them. When you see a slight change in the pattern or behavior of your customer, it's prudent to get in touch with them before they get in touch with you. Or maybe customers nowadays just vote with their feet, they leave. Okay? The other is to be flexible. What do I mean by being flexible to change? Very many things are happening right now. So it's important that even when you're looking at your CRMs, when you're looking at your CX platforms, you're flexible enough to keep updating, but also flexible enough to listen to the voice of the customer and understand that the same customer who was telling you something that was good for them at a certain point in time is now telling you that that particular thing is not what they want. The other thing that you can do to improve your customer experience is to track and address individual customer feedback with the closed loop. When a customer calls in to complain or to put across their grievance and you're unable to meet them to sort it out there and then, it's important that you find out, find out what was this customer feedback like, okay? Why did this customer put up this? Why are we having many social media complaints? What is our net NPS, what is our net promoter score telling us, and being agile enough to try and improve along the way. That is what is meant by tracking and close looping. It's not just knowing, okay, customers always complain on social media, probably they are unsatiable. What are you doing about it? What are the social media influencers telling you? And things like that, okay? So the other thing that you can do is to integrate customer experience with employee feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I can be put on, you can mark my word on this. The most underutilized resource is the employee. Because oftentimes in banking settings, in businesses, you will have, say, 300 employees. And of those 300, there are, say, 40 or 30 agile employees that are utilized. Now, the rest of the employees are watching and they are going like, okay, whatever they are doing won't work. They'll go hit the wall and come back. Because probably I talked to them and they didn't listen, or they think they know it. So what do I mean by this? As a bank, you should make sure that all your customers believe and are ingrained in your banking philosophy to the extent that they understand that they are the bank, okay? If it's probably, just to bring it back home, if it's Stanbic and you ask an employee who is Stanbic, the employee should say, I am Stanbic, not those people, those leaders, those, that kind of thing. Because these employees interact with customers on a day-to-day basis. So they have rich feedback that when integrated with the voice of the customer can do so much. So the other is, there is an adage that goes that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, okay? What does this mean? Ladies and gentlemen, some of your customers are unhappy, will let you know, who the ones we refer to as the squeaky wheel. So when these customers let you know, please thank them, because it takes effort for a customer to get their airtime and call you to tell you something is amiss. It takes money to make a phone call. It takes money to drive to your banking hall or your location to tell you something is wrong. Please thank them, get this feedback, and aim at improving it. Because for every customer that complains, there are 20 customers that don't complain. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the beginning of the end I would like to share some parting thoughts with you. And this is research that has been proven across the banking sector. Ladies and gentlemen, only 1 in every 26 customers actually complain. The others will vote with their feet by leaving. So whenever somebody complains, put in mind that this person is complaining on behalf of other 26 unhappy customers. Research has proven that 29% of banking customers list poor services as the primary reason of leaving. What does this mean for you? It means that you should inculcate a customer-centric culture in your organizations so that people don't know that customer service is just for customer service department. So that even the person in finance understands their role in ensuring a delightful customer experience for their customers. And remember, the first customer in any institution is the internal customer. So how do you treat the internal customer? Ladies and gentlemen, 96% of buyers are willing to pay more for a great customer experience. And this is research that has been proven. And rightly so, there is a prestige banking, there is the executive banking, and you realize some say, let me pay this and get the service I feel I deserve. It's also good to note that it takes 12 pleasant experiences to make up for 1 negative experience. So the price of 1 negative experience is really dire. You need to therefore try and ingrain customer service in as much as possible in your operations. The other insight that I really love is the fact that 49% of buyers make impulsive purchases after receiving a personalized experience. Let me try to create a role play in the banking sector. Okay, I, as a customer, walk in to Derek, who is at the till. Okay, and Derek greets me by name. Hi, Dr. Dorothy, we are pleased to see you again. What brings you here? Just by starting like that, they are getting personal. Not, please send me the checklist, send me, you know, and it's like robotic. So I will say, yeah, I'm back because I have a bank draft for my child that I want to process. Okay, please have a seat as we do this. Okay, anyway, that's a lovely watch. I say, oh, really? Oh, yeah, when we were looking at your previous mortgage, such and such happened. Actually, there is another service available for you. We are now probably offering loans for a person like you. We've looked at your data and you're now eligible for a 1 million loan. Okay, I actually hadn't thought of insuring for my child, but come to think of it, you know, simple, subtle things like asking about the child, because if I have brought a bank draft to pay for school fees for my child, it means there is a child, you know. So ask about the child. Okay, so the child is in school, they're a candidate, you know, and things like that. And before you realize it, this customer will get another thing they want from you. And that is money. Let's avoid being robotic. Bank draft, thank you, sign here. Okay, you will wait for 15 minutes. You go, okay, thank you. You know, let's create that personalized experience with every customer that comes through, because only then will you get repeat business, and not only repeat business, but additional business. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important to note that just a mere 5% increase in your loyal customers translates into an increase of 30 to 80% in terms of profitability. As we wind down, we are Moyo Experience, your go-to firm for customer experience training, certification, coaching, mentoring, name it. Thank you so much, Ronald. I submit.
That was very beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Dorothy, for the presentation. For the good insight in marketing as well. You are such a good person. I must commend you for that. You don't forget to say something about what you've got to offer.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, that's really beautiful. Now, Dr. Dorothy, you've really talked about quite a number of things, and all these things affect us on a daily. I've been, encouraging participants on call to write in and tell us their experiences with different institutions. Unfortunately, I haven't had anything yet, but I think Sebadukan Nasa has opened to say this is a very brilliant presentation. Now, you mentioned something specifically to say, let's avoid being robotic, and I think you are very right on this, because this is something that I've had an experience with. You go to these different banks, and when you approach the service people, you need something, and maybe, I don't know whether they're just tired or people have their own problems or they are stressed out, and it's just do this, do that, mark here, sign here, and then that is it. And it can also be worse if you approach them in the vernacular, not English. What is that to do? I mean, what is so special about speaking English in banking and financial institutions? Is it something that you've had an experience with before? Probably, before you became a doctor or before you go to a certain level, or, it doesn't even have to be when you became a doctor. Sometimes some of us just prefer to use our local vernacular in many instances, and people just don't take it really good. What's your take on that use of language? Has it always got to be English when I go to a financial institution?
Oh, brilliant. Okay. So the way I look at customer experience is like dancing. And what do I mean by this? I love dancing. When they put on slow music, you do the waltz. When they put on, the latest craze, Palazzo has this one gig. When they put on such music, you also increase the pace. What do I mean by this? The customer should inform you of the language they want to speak. And as a banker or somebody that is representing the bank, because when you sit on that till or behind the call center, you are the bank English. When a customer uses Luganda, please go Luganda. When a customer uses Kumam, please speak Kumam. If you are unable to speak Kumam, be prudent enough to inform the customer that, wait a minute, Goretti, kindly hold the line as I get Derek to speak to you in Kumam. Because that is what experience is all about. Because probably the customer can express themselves better in that language. So to answer your question, it's arrogance, it's an ego problem, whereby people think because they are sitting behind a till, they have arrived. Or certain times what happens is that distinction between knowing that I am equally responsible for every customer I attend to in the same way that the MD is responsible. So it is a culture. And when we are doing training as Moyo Experience, we start with those things, okay? We look at the cohesion in the team, because oftentimes certain people are doing it well, but another, because they're having a bad day, think they can rub it off the customer. And then remember what I talked about in, I think it was law number 3, employees understand what is incented what is measured. If you want employees to do the right thing, then in their measurement, even as you rate their calls or their scores, you should be able to say, you know what, Ronald greeted you in Uganda and you responded in English. You know, those little things matter a lot, Ronald. I hope that is clear, but it's a culture that you work with across the divide.
Exactly. It is very clear. You drive the point home, Dr. Dorothy, and I think everyone on call should at least take that point really seriously, especially if you've got any customer service managers or customer service representatives on call, because use of English is you know, a very big deal in different banks. And if you don't speak that language properly, you're always going to be a victim of, or you'll be at the receiving end of some harsh treatment. Okay, thank you, Doctor, for that. We've got a couple of questions, and I think in the interest of time, we would, you know, go through a couple of questions that have come in through our participants. Let me just quickly read through some of the questions here. Some of the questions here quickly, and I will start with the Afema Robert. Afema says, most times there is the general belief that customer care or experience is the business of customer-facing staff as such. Other staff go about doing what they feel is best for them. Some of such practices create experiences that drive away customers. If faced with such employees, what's the best way of changing the culture? Who in an organization is best placed to enforce and breed a good culture for every employee to embrace or to offer a good customer experience? That's Afema Robert. We'll just take that for now, Dr. Dorothy. Okay. Then when we are done, it's our culture through all the webinar series that we've conducted to also conduct a poll to gauge, you know, the kind of, or the level of appreciation that our participants have with the topic that we are discussing. So when we are done with that, we'll conduct a short poll, which usually takes us about 1 or 2 minutes. Then we'll get back to the question and answer session. Thank you, Doctor.
Brilliant. I love that question, and it's very true. It's a paradigm shift, and it's only happening, ladies and gentlemen, because the world has realized that you can put machines everywhere, but the only resource that cannot be substituted is the employees. And when I talk about employees, I'm talking about right from the CEO to the cleaner. What do I mean by this? You can realize that people are going to a particular bank because of the scurry. Now, when you start the silos of customer experience and then you go like, Goretti, that is your field. Goretti, your customer is complaining. Customer service, you are leaving out the rest of the departments, which is very dire for the business. So in changing the culture, the first person should be the managing director. If the managing director believes in customer experience and not only pays lip service to it, the rest will follow suit. What do I mean by this? It means that when you are listening to customers, time is taken off by the directors to probably go to the call center and listen to the customer's voice, to probably go to the market and understand what it takes to bring one customer on board, to probably give one-on-one sessions with the staff and understand their internal customers. So very well said, the culture of creating a customer experience oriented organization starts with the managing director, followed by the EC, The EC is the executive, And like I told you, I think it was law number 6. Employees see when you fake it. You'll go to this town hall and you say, we are pro people, we are pro customer. And in your top priority areas for the year, it's not anywhere. So staff will be like, yeah, we are used to our MD. He talks about it, but that's all talk. The culture starts from the internal customer, knowing that your first customer is the internal customer, and everybody is as equally responsible in creating this.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for the response, Doctor. I think now I'm going to invite my colleague Derek to share with us a short poll that we can use to just, check our levels of appreciation of customer service engineering, customer service, and anything to do with customer experience. Derek, please. Yes, the poll is live on your screens. Please just tick as appropriate and return the poll. Now ready to share the results. However, before we go there, there is a response here from Sarah Mushabe. Some organizations assume to have too many customers to care. That is another, impression that Sarah is giving us. Some organizations seem, or they feel like they're too big, they've made it, and why should they care? Doctor, in the various trainings that you've conducted, is this something which usually, is this an attitude you actually encounter quite often?
Yeah, Sarah is spot on. But how do you guard it being fat and ugly? Sorry, those are Jaguar. When a business is agile, startup, that passion, that enthusiasm, every customer, they celebrate the 10th customer, the 100th and what. Soon what happens is some businesses start getting overwhelmed with customers and they're like, we have enough. What is it? We have all the branches, we are the monopoly in this. So true, Sarah, what you're saying, some organizations become fat and ugly, and they are taken aback when a disruptor is a small and relatively, underlooked business overtakes them. So it is very pertinent that banks get to know that, they need to be relevant to their customers and look at customers through the customer's lens. Even if you have 3 million customers, those 3 million customers are made up of 1, 2, 3, 100 until 3 million. So you need to look out for each customer. Thanks, Sarah. Well said.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor. Maybe just to add on that very briefly, I think if I followed through the webinar properly, responsiveness to customer needs also fits into the wider space of customer experience. And if I'm not mistaken, many of us on call today have very clear memories of once very successful phone companies like the likes of BlackBerry and Nokia. And at a certain point, probably these companies felt they were too big, but all of a sudden we don't know about them anymore. So I think to add on what Doctor you've just alluded to and to what Sarah is saying, we have big, very clear examples in our midst. Okay, now the results of the poll. Derek, you want to share with us the results of the poll? Okay, the results of the poll. We are seeing here from the return results. We are saying that the first question was about age, and we see that only 3% of all people on call are between the age range of 15 to 25. 35% are 26 to 35, and 39% are 36 to 45 years of age. The last category is 23% of people who are in the age range of 46 plus. Now, how do you rate customer service in financial institutions? The answers we have here is only 6% of the people say it's excellent. 65% of people say it's good. 16% it's bad. And 13% say they're not sure about, they don't know what to say, they're not sure. Now, what element of customer service do you wish to be improved? 3% say it's cleanliness. They want to see more cleaner banking halls. 32% say disclosure of all costs. 61% said responsiveness to queries or inquiries. 26% say general support mechanism, and 3% say others. Then lastly, have you ever felt underserved by customer agents in banks and financial institutions? 90% of respondents say yes, they've been underserved, and only 10% said no. So that's, there it is with the statistics, and like what Doctor you've just been saying, a big overwhelming percentage of responses say they have had issues with customer service. 9% say they have been underserved. But like you said, that customer service is cognitive to a greater extent, and it varies from one person to another. We agree to that extent, having been a service provider at a certain point. However, in your experience as an expert in this field, what does this response tell you about the state of customer service within our financial services institutions? Dr. Sarah.
Okay, thank you, Ronald, and thank you, the people that have responded to the poll. They say the customer has spoken. Okay, it shows that there is definitely need to improve in the financial services sector, and most importantly in the area of responsiveness. And why now banks need to make sure that they are agile, because they are dealing with an agile customer. So I think the poll has said it. As institutions, the onus is on you to make sure that you align with the customer, because customers right now have hundreds of options when deciding who will cater for their money, So rightly said, when there is need for improvement in banking and financial services in the area of customer experience.
Thank you, Doctor, for the response. We've got, there is some appreciation coming in from one of the participants on call. This is Margaret Nabukera. She says, thank you, Dr. Dorothy. It's been a very wonderful presentation. Thank you, Margaret Nabukera, for the feedback. We've got a couple of other questions, but I think in the interest of time, let me just ask two at a time. We respond to that, and if time allows, we could go to some others. Now, since this topic had something to do with the career in it, I think it would be a disservice to leave the topic without talking something about career. Now, Dr. Dorothy, like we have seen customer service excellence, customer service engineering, and many organizations, not just in the banking and financial services sector, but across various industries, they're jumping onto the bandwagon of customer engineers, customer, those kind of titles. Now, really, from the point of view of someone who wants to pursue a career in customer experience or to be a customer engineer, what does a typical day look like in the life of a customer service engineer? That's number one. And the second one, for now, still, given the times that we live in, COVID-19 and its resultant containment measures, the lockdowns and so forth, these have had very big and adverse effects on organizations, whether these organizations are small, whether they are big. Now, in which ways do you think this pandemic has affected customer service and how organizations communicate? Also, what are the implications for customer service engineers that COVID has brought about? We'll deal with these two, then if time allows, we could bring in some more. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, brilliant questions. Thanks, Ronald. What is a typical day of a customer experience engineer like? Okay, one, they or the person should understand that feedback is subjective. So from the time that they go to work, one, they should be able to start the day with a smile, because a smile, brings the people towards you. Remember, customer experience engineering is the systematic designing and orchestrating of the signals that you want to be seen by the customer. So, how do you want to be viewed by the other people? One, you realize that as a customer experience engineer, you need feedback from your internal customers and feedback from your external customers. Internal customers being fellow staff, if I can use that. So a typical day, you come into work, greet people, it doesn't hurt, smile, it doesn't take away anything from you, find out how they are. Because at the end of the day, if you walk to people's desks, you will get to know that probably Ronald is not on his desk. Then find out, other than just sending an email and it's not answered and you're wondering why he's not answering it. It also means listening, getting some time off to listen to the voice of the customer. Usually I love listening to the interactions that are recorded or live in the call center, because that gives you the pulse of the customer in real time. Checking your social media handles or pages to find out what is this thing that people are talking about us. There are times I've seen feedback on banking sectors, and you send the feedback to them and they are oblivious of that feedback. So there should be that time that you check your social media to find out, is everything goes as planned? Because you have to inspect what you expect, okay? And more importantly, trying to put in place things that make the experience of internal customers and external customers effortless. Thank you. Then the second question was, how has COVID affected customer experience? Wow, that's a good one. COVID has affected lives across the divide. There is an article I wrote for Elsevier Journal on customer experience engineering amidst COVID-19, swim or drown. We are working with a customer who already has issues, a complex customer who either has been affected in their job through what companies right now sugarcoat and they call it right sizing. We are working with a customer probably who has had their children seated home for a long time, or who has lost a relative or close person. So definitely For customer service, this era means more empathy, more understanding that the customer you're dealing with is already dealing with something else. So you, as a bank, as a financial institution, you shouldn't add on to their stress. As the common adage goes, "Tulimu struggle." Everyone is in a struggle right now. So yes, COVID has affected everybody, but it's important to know that as a bank, as a financial institution, you can be the solace to this person by trying to understand them a little bit more, by being empathetic, you know, by being positive. And I think that is basically what has happened around customer experience. I don't have facts for job loss, so I won't delve into it, but certainly some employees have lost the job. But now when it comes to experience, experience is more about the how. If you're going to lay off employees, that institutions call it right sizing, do you make sure that you take them through a training? You know, take them through that, you know, that training to prepare them so that it's not like, please walk to the, please walk to HR office, here are times, and there you go. And also understanding that the world is close-knit. You don't know where you will find this employee. Even when you're kind of disagreeing, you have to disagree agreeably and look out for solutions. You know, oftentimes companies think laying off people is the first way to deal with such terms. Have you sat down and thought of how you can make these employees more productive? Have you listened to them on what they are trying to tell you about the customer so that you are flexible enough to align into that kind of environment? Yeah, I think that's as far as I can respond to COVID and CX.
Thank you so much, Doctor. The point is well noted. We all in the struggle. Tulimu struggle fedna.
Yeah, maybe just to add on one thing,
yes,
for Avenue of Life, which is the digital era, and banks should aim at making sure that their social media presence is top-notch, their responsiveness is there, and they're top of mind. I need to see my bank doing something, you know, how does my bank remain relevant? Okay, this is the time for banks probably to do something like corporate social responsibility or share tips on how to deal with COVID, you know, something like that, so that at the end of the day, one, as a customer, I see you're relevant in my life. You're trying to help me know how to deal with COVID. But secondly, you're moving with the times, okay? Something that I had forgotten to note about USSD. USSD is banks are very good at telling customers you can use our social media, you can go to our website, you can use our USSD string, dial 2XYZ hash and do this. But have you sat down and relooked the USSD tree to find out whether it's relevant to the people you're giving it to, or it's a tick in the box? Yes, we have social media, you use it. If I use it, do you respond to me? Okay, so banks should be flexible, should be agile, should look out for those solutions. And those solutions are available in your internal customers, who are your employees, and in your external customers, who are the clients as we know them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. I think the point is very clear, and everyone on call, and probably many people who will access these recordings later when we are done here at our web portal, which is www.yourmoneycan.or.ug, will be able to pick up the lessons. We are going to end with one last question, and this question is coming in from Robson Tokahikirwe. Robson Tokahikirwe. Robson says, hi, Dorothy, where do you see customer experience in the next 10 years? What must banks do to cope with the high technological advancement? We are going to close with that. Technology and the speed of tech and customer experience. That's coming in from Robson Tokahikire. Over to you, Doctor.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Robson. That's a very proactive, futuristic, question. Banks can either decide to take the stance of the dinosaurs or the ostriches, where they decide to hide their heads and think that things will just move without their involvement, and then they'll become extinct. Or they can start now looking at the available options of how do you strategize, how do you use strategic partnerships to appeal to the dynamic customer, okay? How do you work on ensuring your customer experience is good so that your customers become your organic ambassadors in recruiting other customers? So in terms of customer experience, the world we live in is now a world of virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and artificial intelligence. How are banks going to cope with this? Many things will happen. For example, there are the chat boxes. Soon, probably people speaking on the phone can be replaced with, technology that allows for robots to speak to the customers. But guess what? Customer experience is here to stay now more than ever, because the only thing that this robotics and augmented reality world can't do is they don't have emotions. And emotions in the world we live in right now has taken center stage. And these emotions can only be delivered by human beings. So banks should, with this information, look at how they can quickly get the technology that is required, but not only getting the technology, how do they work with the entire spectrum, their staff, so that the staff are as good in using this technology, okay? You realize scenarios where probably banks have this go-to person who knows how to operate this particular thing. This is the time for knowing that you need to bring all your employees up to speed so that they are able to be agile enough and be techie savvy, okay? As we look into this new world of a customer who is very independent, a customer who is informed, a customer who you will tell something and they Google on social media and tell you, no, that wasn't the answer. So how do you deal with such a person? You need to make sure banks, leaders should make it a habit of acclimatizing themselves with the trends. This is the time to make Google, to make, these social media platforms your friends, because you can only give what you have, and everything starts from the individual. When banks get their staff to that level, knowing that if they don't do that, because we are in a technology world, then they will be extinct like the dinosaurs. So this is the time to knit up that area of technology so that staff are able to deliver good experience by providing them with the necessary tools, not only providing them, but equipping them to effectively use these tools, because customer experience is here to stay. And there is no way you can substitute empathy with a machine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I think that statement, especially the very last one that you just made, helps to allay the fears of many people who have been, afraid of machines taking over their jobs. But it's very clear that we are living in the world where emotions are taking center stage, and there is no substitute to emotions. Even chatbots won't scare us off. Thank you so much, Doctor. We are out of time. It's exactly 5 and we should be ending. However, I want to read out some appreciation remarks coming in from different participants here. And I will start with Emmanuel Turuket. Thanks for the elaborate presentation on customer experience. Big thumbs up, Doctor. That's Emmanuel Turuket. Then we have Raymond Adrico. Thank you, Doctor, for the presentation and sharing experiences. These are people who have been tuning in. Then Robson Tokahikirwe. Dorothy, you are surely spot on. Thank you. If I got you well, like you have a training center, how do I get a certificate in customer experience? Thanks. So Robson probably wants to take it even a step further, getting an actual certificate. Like I said, you just gave me a very good lesson in marketing to say each time you got an opportunity to say something about the service that you are selling, never hesitate to say it out. You just want yourself a client. Probably you'll get to chat more with Robson Tokahikirwe. Now, Doctor, I want to request you to give us at least 1, 2, 3 as parting shots. I know you've already done that in the summary to the presentation, but in line with financial inclusion, I would love to hear something, to do with your feel about the entire, business environment in Uganda. Because yes, we've talked about customer service in banks and financial services, but it also affects everyone else outside the confines in which we've been discussing it. So probably in about 30 seconds or 1 minute, please, what are your parting shots to customer experience generally across the board? Thanks, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, customer experience has overtaken price as product. Number one brand differentiator. Okay. As a leader, you need to be. Can I continue?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Doctor.
Okay. It means for companies that as a leader, you should be humble. You already have your title. Don't move throwing it around. Be humble, because when you're humble, people will find you approachable and they will come to you and tell you the insights. Remember, customer experience is a subject. And tell Ronald, by the way, ABSA is doing this. If Ronald feels that when he comes in, he's on top of the world, he has arrived, it also means that those directors, those managers who feel that customer experience is below them will soon be left out. Because the number one brand differentiator right now is that customer experience with your staff. How do you treat staff? Because when you treat this staff, ladies and gentlemen, engaged employees create engaged customers. Happy employees create happy customers. It's time to go back to the drawing board and look out for these things. Okay, in some of the trainings that we've done with companies, we start with that, because you walk into a room and there is a lot of friction. So we start with feedback. And how is this feedback given? Different individuals write about you. So we tell all the people in the room, please write something to Ronald that you want to tell him. Please write about Dr. Dorothy, something you want to tell her. And after getting these, people start opening up. Because truth be told, the internal customers, most times, because of the internal politics going on and the fact that I don't like that one, I feel this, my company doesn't understand me. Now, how do I have a job? And whenever my boss comes to talk to me, they're telling me the world is going astray. You know, we don't know if you have your jobs and things like that. We need to get to the drawing board and now start thinking of how do we create this delightful experience for the customers that we have, because 98% of business is got through referrals. Treat nicely your internal customers, they will bring you business. Treat nicely your external customers who are the clients, they will bring you business. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doctor, for the parting shots and for a very wonderful presentation. On behalf of UIBFS and myself, I really want to say thank you so much for the time that you've put aside for us. We know you can be a very busy person. Being a doctor and a CEO at that, it's not easy to find time to put away, but at least you managed to make the time, and not just time, but also very, very insightful presentations. Thank you so much. To our participants, we thank you too for the time that you've saved or spared to be with us, and for everyone who has taken the for everyone who took the initiative to say, you know, a comment or give us feedback. We thank you. I will end with the one last one from Rosette Bamwine. Rosette says, thanks a lot for this enlightening webinar. Dr. Dorothy, thanks a lot. Kindly provide a copy of the presentation. Rosette, the copy of the presentation or this webinar has been recorded. If you go to the web portal for the campaign, which is www.yourmoneycan.or.ug, you'll still be able to find recorded sessions, not just for this webinar, but for all the webinars that we've conducted from the first one to today's, which is the 15th. Remember, it's been a series of webinars. We are still going to have another one tomorrow, same time. The speakers or the panelists and the topic are going to be communicated in a due course. We still encourage you to turn up or to tune in and share with or share in the experience of the different panelists. I want to say thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you so much to our strategic partners and to our platinum sponsor. Thank you so much. Your money can, be money smart, Center Yo Esobola. Thank you.
Your money can help you achieve your dreams only when you save every time you earn. Learn how to keep part of your income to help you, your family and business manage through emergencies like COVID-19 at the Banking and Financial Services Awareness Month. Meet the financial experts. Learn how to deal with financial hardships like those caused by COVID-19, how to prepare for similar emergencies in the future, how to create an emergency account, and how to save to achieve your dreams. Be money smart. Be part of the Banking and Financial Services Awareness Month. Visit www.yourmoneycan.or.ug. Brought to you by the Uganda Institute of Banking and Financial Services, UIBFS.